done nothing yet. About to start some projects right now. Let's go. Alright, welcome back to Everyday Diesel. Sorry in advance for the noise. First day in the shop and gonna start a couple projects. I'm gonna try to get two things done in this video. I'm gonna make new transmission cooler lines with the appropriate fittings. Show you what fittings I've been using and why you shouldn't use them for a transmission cooler. And then I'll show you the fittings that I'm gonna go to. A more traditional style, like standard AN fitting and hose. In case you've never built an AN line for anything, whether it's for fuel or power steering or transmission or whatever, I'll show you how that's done. It's super simple. And then I'm also going to drain and remove the fuel cell because it needs to go back to HammerTech race cars and get a little spot fixed on it on a weld. And the plan with this is to relocate it in this area right here. So I'm thinking I'm going to be able to use these same bars here, and I'm going to mount them down in the lower sections of the frame back here. So it'll bring the fuel cell back behind the rear axle, make it to where I can put fuel in it like a normal person instead of having to climb over this and stand there, and just always been kind of a pain in the butt. Plus it'll get it a little bit lower, which will be nice as well. So with that being said, I'm gonna get started on the transmission core lines. We'll measure them, we'll make our new lines, and we'll go from there. All right, so there's absolutely nothing wrong with using zip ties and stuff for managing your lines and wires and stuff like that, but you can find these pretty cheap at summitracing.com. It's a line holder. This is -6 size, so like 3/8 or 1/2 inch or whatever, 1/2 inch OD. Just a little billet aluminum. They make them in multiple different colors. I just went with like a natural, not anodized color. They're several dollars a piece, probably $3 or $4 a piece. So you definitely don't want to get carried away with them unless you just got the money to burn. But if they're visible, like in the bed of this truck here, it makes it super nice to be able to route lines. Just gets rid of the use of some zip ties and makes everything look nicer. Okay, got the transmission lines out of the truck and laid on the floor, and got the heater turned off so I can talk for a minute. So real quick, I'm gonna explain the fittings and hose that I have been using and why you shouldn't use it and why I'm changing it. So this is -6 AN push lock style hose and fittings. These particular brand are Vibrant. I've always bought Vibrant fittings and hose. They usually are middle of the line pricing and good, and very good quality. Real quick, I'll show you because I have a bunch of them here. This is my -6 box. So like, here's a 90. So this is a push lock style. If you ever installed these, you lube this up with any type of oil, just lightly, and the hose slides on. It typically, you gotta put quite a bit of force to get the hose all the way seated into this cup, and which usually makes you feel pretty good about the connection. You can kind of see, this is the last one that blew off. You can kind of see, if it'll focus, the hose starting to come off, and it's loose on the barb. I think the high heat from the transmission fluid over, warming and cooling over and over and over again makes this portion of the hose that's on the barb that's stretched, it makes it weak, and then it basically starts to relax, and then you get a little bit of pressure in here from a high pressure transmission, and it blows off. And that's why I oiled the track down at Wild Wednesday at Lucas Oil Raceway a couple months ago. So getting rid of those. Here's what we're going to. All right, this is what we're going to. Braided -6 AN hose. So this is the style fitting that you should use, and you've probably seen, if it'll focus, just like that. So this comes off of here. It's basically, so this nut comes off, you clean up your hose end here, this slides on, and you can kind of see in there that there's a ledge. It's right where the threads start to thread this back onto the fitting. That is where you seat this to. Then once this is on the hose, you can set this into a vise or put a second wrench on this. Then you start threading this into that fitting, and it will sink down into the hose like that, and it creates like a nice locked, a very good seal. I'm gonna go ahead and get my line cut to match these lengths. I got screwed by Summit Racing. I ordered 20-foot length of this here hose. If you curve that out to there, it matches up. You get it. So, I'll get ready to make my first cut, to make my first hose. I got the tape measure set at 20 foot. We are about 4 foot short. And I know from making these lines last time that I needed all 20 feet of a 20-foot coil to get these 2 lines made. So, I guess I'm only making 1 line today, and then I'm gonna have to move on to something else. Okay, there are several ways to cut AN hose or any kind of hose like this, but this is braided. It does have braided steel in it, and then it has this like nylon or whatever braid on the outside, which frays. And one thing when you're putting these kind of fittings together, you don't want the ends to be frayed. So what you can do is you can wrap your hose in masking tape and make your cut like right in the middle of the tape. Should be able to cut this nice and have a nice end ready for fitting. And just like that, you got a pretty clean, straight cut ready for the fitting. All right, so I'd prefer to have a vise set up with some, you can buy like some AN, some aluminum and fitting clamps that go into like a table vise so you can protect the fitting and not scratch it up with, you know, metal wrenches. So here again, here's the nut piece. Here's our nice, clean cut, non-frayed end of the hose. It's gonna go on like this, and we're gonna twist it back and forth or twist it around on until it is seated inside against the start of the threads. And we're there. Okay, you can kind of see right there. You can see the hose butted up against the threads inside the fitting. That's what you want to see, and now you can put the rest of the fitting together. Then you're gonna take this end, and it's gonna go in and start threading. And it's gonna go in probably about halfway by hand. It'll start getting harder. That's the nipple going down inside the hose. And then ideally, this is again when you would have a vise that has some aluminum protective clamps. You would put this in the vise right here, hold it so that you can put a wrench on here and just spin it around until it's flush up against here. You do not want to have a gap here. That means your fitting is not all the way seated. Put one crescent on there. The other one on there, and then just start going around. Okay, and there. And then we have a completed hose that's ready to go for one of my transmission lines. Okay, showing the fittings and how to do that was kind of the first goal that I wanted to do with this video. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this. I'm going to drain the fuel out of this thing. Do my best not to make a mess, but that's inevitable. Disconnect the lines and get this fuel cell out of the truck. Done for this day. I'm gonna come back on another day and finish this up. Got the fuel cell out, and like a lot of projects, I started a side quest over here. The trailer brake controller harness has been zip tied up and all smashed back here in the roll pan for the past 2 years, so I decided to cut it out. About a third of the way done with that project. I'm going to take more of that wire out further up the frame, clean up all this bull crap here, which is just brake lights, turn signals, running lights, and license plate lighting, because of course I want to keep all that. So I'm gonna clean that wiring up, re-lume it, zip tie it up out of the way. Fuel cell is out. It needs to get repaired again. Just one quick little tack weld will do it. I also need to go and get some more lines here because all these lines have to be extended. This is the -10 main feed line. It needs to be extended. It goes to the air dog. The gray line is the return from the air dog. It needs extended. And then this -6 black line is the return from the engine. It needs to be extended. All right, here's the current situation. Got the fuel cell back from HammerTech Race Cars. Got a weld fixed. Got a new bung welded in for 2 different returns. So it's gonna be a lot cleaner than this setup. If you're familiar with my truck, this is what my return was. Air dog return here, truck return here. Trans lines are in. This is not exactly done. Waiting on a few more parts and waiting until I get these fuel lines re-ran for the fuel cell in its new location, which I am pretty much standing in. I'm getting ready to move my brackets to their new location, which I'm gonna do most of this work off camera. Don't need to bore you with time lapses of stuff like that. But I'll show you the finished product once I'm done and how I did it. Oh, the wiring. Got it all done. That, aside from these paper towels, is all the crap that I got out of this wiring harness in the rear end. Got all new loom here, ran back through here. So the only wiring come back here is gonna be for turn signals, brake lights, and license plate lights. So it's a lot better than it was. Everything's out of the way. The trailer plug's not in there anymore, which I'll keep just in case. Okay, I got the fuel cell relocated in its new location. I'm way happier with this. About almost level with the bed and back here so that I don't have to stand inside or hop over this just to put fuel in the thing. So this is gonna be way nicer. All right, so I've gotten pretty much everything figured out and finished up with one exception, and I'll go over that for the projects for this video. So let's go over that real quick right now. Oh, let me get the stupid broom out of the way. Ah, who put that there? Right in the middle of where I wanted to shoot my video. Jeez, old Pete. All right. So, to me, this looks freaking way better. Get down low here. Got the fuel cell remounted where I want it. It is just about an inch or so taller than the bed floor, and that is exactly what I wanted to do. So here's what we did with the lines. So brand new -10 feed, and it pretty much follows the same path that it did before, down along the frame rail, along the frame rail, through there. You can see it right there, and then it curves, and then you can see it goes up underneath the fuel cell and goes right into that 180-degree fitting. Boom, right into the sump of the cell. So that's perfect. Then you have your -8 return line coming off the air dog, and it's come down. Got some line separators connecting it to the feed line, which goes towards the engine. Got it coming down around. Got it connected to the -10 feed line there. It comes to the same spot. Comes along here, same way. And this one, I sent it through the same hole in that cross member right there. You can kind of see. And then I have it curved down. Got these nice vibrant clamps. It's like a P-clamp, and boom, up into the return there. Then lastly, you have the truck return. So here's the factory line that would have gone into my fuel tank. -6 adapter on it. Got a nice, see if it'll focus. Yep, P-clamp there, holding it. Bring it to the frame. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can kind of see. Bring it along there, come around the shock, clamp, 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 and then up into that. So, a lot better. It's gonna be a lot easier now to put fuel or check the fuel level. I like these lines being ran the way they are, way better than it was before. One more thing the only thing left to do is going to be to address this vent. what I was going to do was run a 90-degree elbow here and run a line up underneath here and have the filter up underneath here. But I don't like the way I mocked it up with that hose over there. I don't like the way it looks with just big old hose right here. I climb up in here and I walk across the frame rail a lot, and I mean, I would just end up tripping on that and dying. So instead of doing that, I'm gonna try to figure out something else. So that's gonna stay on there for now. Trans lines are all done. Glad I got to show that in this video. If you have any questions, comment below. I'd be happy to help. They're pretty simple, but these style fittings are definitely the way to go for anything other than fuel supply, in my opinion. This push lock is great for fuel supply, but for something like this, I know firsthand, not great. With that being said, guys, I hope you liked this video. Hope it was informative if you came here for that. I got 3 pretty good videos coming. I can't give you a timeline, but they're, in my opinion, they're gonna be awesome. Got 3. I don't want to spill the beans completely, but going a little bit different a route than what I've talked about with the fuel and air on this truck. I did mention in a previous video that we're going to be going to bigger injectors. I got those. Greg Turner from GT Turbos hooked me up with a set of injectors. He can do injectors as well. He's got a guy. They're kind of at the beginning stages of that whole program, but it's going to be good. So I got some injectors from him. We'll go over the size in another video. I don't know if it'll be the next video or not. It might. I'll do a whole video of how to remove and install injectors in a 24 valve. And the turbo. I've mentioned that I was going to do a new turbo, and we are going to do a new turbo, but it might be turbos. So that'll be a video. And then lastly, I got a pretty cool opportunity. We're going to be pulling the transmission out of this truck. And for those of you who don't know, I have a Firepunk Comp 1 transmission in this, and it's probably got 200, maybe 250 passes on it. And I'm going to be doing a video on that, removing it, tanking it somewhere, doing a video there, and reinstalling it. That's going to be super cool. So look out for those. Thanks for watching this one. Like button, subscribe, all that. See you.